நீங்க யாரை இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணலையா? யாரோ? Hello, dear professors and other colleagues. This is I'm Dr. Sita, Dean of Research from SP Jain School of Global Management, Singapore. And we are based, our headquarters are, we are Sydney Business School, that is SP Jain School of Global Management, registered under Higher Education Ministry of Australia. So our degree is an Australian degree. And I am Dean of Research in charge of Doctorate of Business Administration. So every year we admit about 3 semesters, about I also examiner for Australian universities, Western universities. Only one point I want to tell you. The thesis I'm getting from, particularly from South Indian universities, very good. You are doing excellent work, but one is conspicuously missing. This I take. This is not a criticism. You are doing best. At the same time, with the time given to me, 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, what I am not getting that information from various theses that I would like to show that. So I am sharing my screen. Post disabled participant screen sharing. So somebody disabled, please allow me to share my screen. Hello, host. Allow me to share my screen. I want to show some
Recording
PowerPoint.
in progress.
Hello. Hello, you are able to hear me? Nobody is responding. You are able to hear me? Then I am sharing, but host disabled participant screen sharing. So you have to release your lock. Hello. I can't share my PowerPoint slide. Hello. Hello, please share. Who is the host? DP Jain. Hello, please. Hello, Dr. Sakti. You're able to hear me? Ah, yes. Now I'm getting. Okay. So, Ravi, the 15-minute limited time, I take this opportunity to welcome you. See, any thesis, generation of topic, thesis topic, very important. Whoever comes to me, I wanted to PhD, I wanted to doctorate of business administration. I will ask them, what is your career advancement? Particularly, most of the business executives come, they want to have a second career. Our DBA class, average age is 45. I'm sorry, average age is 45. Lowest age of the student 37. The highest age of student 72. Our DBA, all Saturday, Sunday classes. So how we generate the topic? I asked them, what is your career advancement? Many of them want to have a second career. Some may want to have an academic career. So if you are an academic career, you like to specialize what is your area, marketing or human resources or leadership or operations or interdisciplinary. The latest trend, about 70% of topics interdisciplinary, applying the technology, adoption of digitalization by the business schools. Or yesterday, one adoption of blockchain by banks in Singapore. Like this, customer expectation in next generation internet banking, marketing, and technology. Like this, the topics are coming. So the generation topic is very important based on your career advancement. And broad field and narrow down the field. For instance, to take this, one student came, we want to do marketing, and we discussed marketing consists of marketing environment, consumer behavior, marketing mix like this, at least. Then he wanted to do in channel, then manufacturer to customer to B2B and online. Then he's from UAE, so online retailing in UAE. He had done it, he had done very well. Now he's a top 5 executives in Network International, that Sheikh of Dubai owning that supermarket because of the thesis. So your topic should be based on your career advancement. Another lady from Singapore, Kashmir Pandit lady, settled in Singapore. She wants to do smart city. So in smart city, which aspect? You narrow down your topic very much. First, we discuss about e-services. Then e-services, healthcare, mobile payment, transportation. In healthcare, if you see medical devices, telemedicine, IoT, then we have done healthcare devices in Singapore. It's like that you narrow down your topic. Because she is working now in a healthcare company. She got her degree. Similar like this, you have to pursue social media. One person wanted to do social media straight away. Like this, a lot of people. The main point of what I'm not able to get in 90% of theses from South Indian universities is not a criticism. Please follow the international line. You are doing well. International first chapter, very important. The first chapter, people write significance of this topic, research problem, statement of the problem, objectives of the research, all are there. But the starting point, research problem. For this, you have to do survey of literature. Whoever comes to me, I insist them, you have to take articles only from IIC Thomson, Clarivate Analytics, that's a top grade index, followed by ABDC listed journals. You take your journals, quality journals from this. Whether A or B or C, never mind, so long as index and this is okay. How to use Google Scholar, all those things, EBSCO, ProQuest, all those things, you will be knowing it. I don't want to spend the more time. Very important, the research problem. How do you arrive the research problem? That is important. You see, the survey of literature, if you take a survey of literature, first you go to Google Scholar, you have got author, year, topic of the article, name of the journal, volume, issue number, all these things. So you just copy and paste it. Many universities have their own rules, APH style or Harvard style or Vancouver style. We follow APH style. Just to go to APH style, click and copy it here. Then major finding in bullet point. 3 major findings. In bullet points you give. Don't write copy from the article. Then to avoid writing, please avoid writing sentences because later you will be caught by plagiarism. Turnitin check. We are very strict about the Turnitin check. Here on very stiff ethical practices are followed. Then what are the variables used in the article? What is the variable? Factors influencing the main topic of the article. They are the variables. The keywords represent that. You write this. Then research model or tools or theory used in the article. They use regression, multiple regression, or a structural equation model. Those things, simple 2-3 lines. The next one is very important, which is totally missing in most of the research. Totally missing from most of. Whenever I'm examiner for the nearly 30 universities, not only in India, Australia, West Indies, UK, all those things. I find a distinct difference. It's not a criticism. Learning process. I want to improve the learning process. That is limitation and scope for you take an article, latest article, last 4 years. Last 4 years. Very, very important. Last 5 months, our DBA students, examiners point out old article not valid. So now last 5 years you take. Maximum 5 years, but minimum 3 years better. Millions of articles available. In that you go to an article, go to last paragraph first. Conclusion. or one paragraph before conclusion. See, this is a theme of my lecture today. See whether limitation scope for future research in the article. If no paragraph is there, go to conclusion. The conclusion that I mentioned, future research should be on this. That means it's an unresearched area. That is a research gap that you have to do. So identify the gap from the scope of future research, write it here gap variable. Like this, on your topic, you take 50 articles. So each article, if you see 5 articles, at least 2 articles will have the limitation scope for future research, either in conclusion or one paragraph before conclusion. You read only those articles. I'm very strict about it. Only those articles. Then write here, what is the gap mentioned in the scope for future research is the research gap. Like these 50 articles they do. One student has done it. I'll show this to you also. The student, he got his degree. She had done all this. I mentioned this column to you. You see, first, authors, year, topic, as mentioned, the Google Scholar. Major findings, given five not necessary, 3 is sufficient. And variables, what are the variables in the article? Mostly from keywords. What is the research model? All those things, research model use. This is important. You have to just copy and paste it here. Just copy from the article. What is the limitation of the article? What is the scope of the future research? The future research, please see the topic here. This is OTT streaming services by youth in Asia Pacific region. Now all people are using OTT. That is a trend. So he is employed by Disneyland, those things. So the article use of modified theory of acceptance technology, all these things. From there, here, future research should be done on exploring continuity of usage and user behavior. So this is the gap. Then future research should be done the kind of OTT content. So 2 gaps. So I will write it here gap variable, continuity of usage and type of content. Like this, you have to take 50 articles on your topic. If you usually will get gap variables on 50 articles, easily 150 gaps you have got. This gap, you should do a frequency distribution. What is a frequency distribution? I'm showing to you. You see, user type, adoption. You see how many affected demographic, 24 times repeated like this. Then services offered 33 times, 33 gaps on services offered. On the 50 articles, there are 33 gaps on services offered. Those points you have to take. What is the exact gap? Similarly, user experience, there are 30 gaps. Group the similarities. That is called grouping the gap variables. Grouping the similarities. Similarly, media consumption pattern, 32 times repeated under this. You 50 are subscription pricing. Like this, you arrive, then your research framework, all the gaps. These gaps already you are given, exactly you reproduce. To avoid plagiarism, I tell you, this help you to prepare the question. Very important. You see research framework. From the gap, please see. Adoption of OTT streaming services by youth in APAC region. So there are 5 research gaps. The gap will become research problem. So services offered, user experience, media consumption, subscription costs, facilitators. So each 5 gaps, you further do research survey independent variables. Independent variables, you take 20 articles, each independent variable. You give sub-variables. These are also gaps. So you have got gaps on dependent variable, you have got gaps on independent variable, you have gaps on sub-variables. This is research. What is research? Discovery of new fact. What is research? Discovery of substantial contribution to body of knowledge. This should be evidenced by survey of literature. Solidly support the research problem, solidly support by survey of literature. I am not saying most of these theses I am not saying. It's not a criticism. Even my own thesis, if you see, it is not be there. Now, trend is changing. So arrive the gap. Prepare your research framework. This become research questions. The research questions, the research problems and the research questions and the objectives. The solution to problem is subjective. In this way, you have to do that. See, the gap frequency is done well. On the basis of initial reading, this boy has done very well and he got his degree. And when you use, we are not using no longer SPSS. We are using Adanko. If you click Adanko, the whole report will come 45 pages. When your Excel sheet is ready, whole 45-page thesis report will come. And future Adanko is going to be your questionnaire also incorporated. Google Doc form will be incorporated. Then you circulate to all the people. Even 30, 40 samples are there. You can see your results, your sector education model, you can see your convergent validity, you can see discriminant validity, you can see Chrombank alpha, you can see linearity, you can see interconnect relations, you can see hypothesis, accept or rejection, you can see. Every 100 sample, you can open it. So in this way, packages are coming. You should be up to date with the packages. That's why SPSS is introduced. SPSS AMOS. AMOS has got structural equation model. You go to Adanko, use Adanko. Adanko freely available, 1 year trial version or $4. That will help you to your. In this way, the gap you have to identify. After identification of gap, I'll tell you. After the gap, please see, we are selecting under each research problem that sub-variable, the gap exactly we reproduce in the questionnaire. The worksheet of questionnaire. Some of the professors, I'm examiner in your Christian College, Presidency College, Qaida Millet, DB Jain, all these things I send this questionnaire. You can get it from them. My worksheet is patented by Australian government, Sita patent, and the worksheet of the questionnaire as well as my survey of literature. Those who are interested, write to me, email, I'll send it to you. I'll be happy. See, this adoption of OTT streaming service by youth in Asia region. Usually you request them to fill the questionnaire. This is a worksheet of questionnaire. You are not supposed to send this to the respondent now. Worksheet approved by your yes. Please see, the services offered, independent variable. There are 5 sub-variables, all supported by gap. The gap given by the author himself. Author and year, what is the gap? Future research should consider the nature of application undertaken, nature of application updates by analyzing verbal description of the improvements of application and other network implements which can occur mobile network like packet loss. Like this, exact word you have to write it here. This become annexed to your thesis, worksheet of the questionnaire. Then you have to write it, the statement of fact, in your own English. What is a good question? Go to Google search. What is a good question? What is a bad question? Then what is a questionnaire survey? 2 minutes search engine, 2 minutes YouTube. How to write the questionnaire? OTT users relate to application usefulness based on new version up to date. He emphasizes on newer version up to date. No research has been done. This evidence by this research gap evidence by this. Like this, all the questions are supported by research gap. Please remember, 5 independent variable, 5 into 5, 25. I don't believe 200 questions. Your respondent is tired. The moment he crosses 40 questions, you won't get right answer. Your Excel sheet will be defective. Please take it from me. 25 to 30 questions are ideal, backed by research gap and this solid support of literature. So 25 questions are over. What is your outcome of the research? You got to do. Adanko wants your research is measured by outcome. That also you can do the survey of literature after research gap. The survey of literature you can do for the outcome also. Expected research outcome findings. That also should be supported by literature. Okay. All it is measured. Then demographic factor. All these things. In demographic factor, you can test some theory. This is a diffusion of innovation theory. When do you adopt OTT streaming services? Adoption of diffusion of innovation theory, you convert it into questionnaire. Like this, then when you send this to the respondent, please remove the finding and the other. You, after approval by your guide, the two columns should be taken out. Only the question statement of fact is the question, and the measurement Likert scale. 5 will be ideal. You want 7 or 9, you can follow depending upon the topic, but ideal will be 5 Likert scale. With this, you finish your research. That's all. It is the missing, totally missing place. Next time when I see any thesis, the problem should be some research problem. 5 independent variable, 3 variable you select. 3 to 6 variable, okay. Each variable, select 20 articles. Prepare the questionnaire. Research problem, research question, based on research problem, research question. Based on research question, research objective. Based on research objective, your hypothesis. After data analysis. Like this you can do. I expect all your research problem should be supported by solid support of literature and research gap. What I am seeing, we found out nobody has done this research so far. That's all. Nobody has done this. Is a common write-up I'm seeing in your thesis. Statement of problem, significance of research. No, I checked up the market. I interviewed them. Nobody has done. You can interview industry experts at what stage? This stage, the questionnaire stage. Prepare the questionnaire, pilot test and pilot study. Pilot set 15 industry focus group. Go to them, administer the questionnaire. They suggest you new question or they suggest you new variable. Those experts focus group. That you mentioned in your thesis. When Kotler did a research on advertising media 40 years ago, the independent variables are newspaper advertisement, magazine advertisement, radio advertisement, cinema advertisement, billboard. So no internet, those things. When you personally introduce pilot testing with these people or pilot study with the customers, I have given 5 factors influencing the advertising media. That is newspaper, magazines, cinema, all these things. Did I omit anything? That man said, this apartment, 25 stories. 1 year ago, I bought Sensodyne toothpaste. Then when I used it, I told my neighbor. Neighbor told, now 50% of this apartment, 50-story building, all are using Sensodyne toothpaste. Word of mouth. So new variable bond. Like this, you have to try. You are trying sincerely, but you do it in a systematic way. I'm not doubting your sincerity. Your research problem should be supported by literature. And pilot study in pilot testing, consult focus group of industrialists. They have also introduced some variable or some questions. Finish the pilot study, modify amendment, go for main study. That's all my lecture. That is the thing you have to do. So when I receive next thesis from you, so please, your research problem should be supported by identify the gap variables, 3 to 6 variables influencing your main topic. If 3 variables mean each variable must have 10 questions. If 5 variables mean each variable may have 5 questions. Like this, uniform, so that you don't face any problem in data analysis. For the world is fast changing. What will happen tomorrow, we don't know. The research packages, all the things are very user-friendly. The data, big data, your semi-structured data, your unstructured data will be converted into structured data. Data will be freely available. Data revolution taking place. So please arrive the research problem solidly supported by past literature, latest literature. That's my thing. I open it for questions. Any questions? I take it no questions.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm a full-time research
Can I
scholar.
see your face? Here in this corner of the world, all the people should show their face. In Singapore, any conference, Canada. Okay. You can ask your question.
Yeah, sir, I'm a full-time research scholar, sir. Sir, actually, I'm doing my research and I'm actually in my question of part, sir. So, as I said, searching 50 journals and putting them in an Excel sheet is a wonderful idea, sir. I've not yet gone through that, as you said. Even if I gone through that, my question will not be as tough as I face today. That's the real fact, sir. Is there anything that we can, that I can do now? I mean, to improve my questionnaire like what?
So I am telling you three stages of survey of literature. Main topic 50 is called dependent variable, 50 journals. Then 5 independent variable, 20, 20, 25. This one, what I shown here, done it. So 20, 20, 100 articles. 5 independent, 5 into 20, 100. Then each independent variable, 5 sub-variable. Each sub-variable, 5 article, 25. First stage, 50. Second stage, 100, 150. Third stage, 125. So 375 articles, all latest, full of things. And you go to, you type NUS, what National University of Singapore is following. Please type this in Google. PhD thesis formatted structured approach. Please note down. PhD thesis structured approach. Professor Chadbury 5-chapter model. We don't know what a 10-chapter model. 2,500 universities are following. The National University of Singapore, the top 10 universities in the world, the top 4 countries in education in the world, when they follow, why not you follow? Please type now. You get the national, this one, PhD thesis format, structured approach. In capital letter, you can see. There you see that your thesis format. Why 10 chapters, all those things? Simple 5 chapters, very effective. Present it in an effective way. You read that. When to use past tense, when to use present tense. How do you finish chapter finishing? In a conclusion, how do you write conclusion? How do you write introduction? Linkage between chapters. My reports, every report I am writing, of course, there is some improvement.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So, any more questions? I take it no more questions, Dr. Sakti. I
Yes,
hand
sir.
over the mic to you.
We are grateful honoring us and inaugurating our conference. Certainly, it will be remembered in the history of D.B. Jain College. Dr. Sitaraman is ever remembered person in the history of D.B. Jain College, in academic growth and development of the college, research and development of the college. Your blessings will be always honored and showered with the help of Almighty. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sakti. Thank you. I offer you, as I already told you, one full day session, full thesis, how to write that. I will take a session. You can arrange that. Future months,
Yes,
I
sir.
take a session. Last week, I have taken one session in Birth for a big college in Birth University in Australia by online. This is mine is for information. Mine is patented by 1 minute. My survey of literature is patented by Australian government. For some people, I already sent it. Already sent it along with my thesis. Already I sent it. See, mine I got Adanko, you see. Oh, anyhow, I sent it to Christian College. My patent, I have sent it to Christian copy. I sent to Christian. I sent it to Management Studies Department of the Madras University. You approach that lecturer, one Professor Agarwal. You approach her. She will give me my patent details. Along, see, when I did my thesis, when I reviewed the thesis, I sent it to them. Let the future be like this. I sent my full patent particulars to Professor Agarwal of Madras University, another lady in Christian College, then Presidency College, one professor, another professor in Kaide Millet, all these people. And our Dr. Sakti is there. You can get it from him also. I send this. You can see my patent approved by government of Australia. I got patent from them. My review of literature alone. Review of literature and questionnaire. That's all. If you finish review of literature, 75% of it is ready. You start writing and follow 5-chapter model of Chadberry. All the Western universities are following his model. He's a Mahaguru of the research. I know him for the last 30 years. I left India in 1989. And that's it. You are welcome. Any doubt, you can send me email. I'll send it. Dr. Sakti, can I take leave? Dr. Sakti, can I take leave? Okay. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. So I have another meeting. Otherwise, I continue. Today is a busy day for us. It's Friday. So thank you very much for giving an opportunity. Bye.
A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all. It is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without heart. Whether we realize it or not, prayer is the encounter of God's thirst with us, God's thirst that we may thirst for Him. Now I request everyone to raise up for the prayer song.
Light symbolizes prosperity and life. The lighting of Kuttuvilakku does not only symbolize the bright future but also the removal of darkness of ignorance. I now request the dignitaries on the dais to light the Kuttuvilakku. I request our chief guest to light the Kuttuvilakku.
I, requ- I request all the dignitaries to join the dais. Sunshine is a welcome thing. It brings a lot of brightness. May I now call upon Dr. C. Murugesan, Principal of Dhanraj Bay Jain College, to welcome the gathering.
It is a great pleasure for me to welcome all the resource persons and participants on behalf of the management of Team Foundation, principal, professor in charge, HODs and faculties of DB Jain College from all over the world who came here to exchange the experience and work together. On behalf of the conference committee, I welcome Dr. A. Sitaraman, Dean, Academic Affairs Professor, SP Jain School of Management. He already given a lecture to you. I also welcome Dr. Sivakumar Venkatramani, Professor of Internal Business, USA, to give keynote address in this conference. Also, I welcome dignitaries to give special address for the conference today. Before closing, I have extend further thanks to the two schools of our college. One is School of Commerce and School of Management, who greatly helped in organizing the conference in great manner. I welcome all the HODs, staff members to make this conference a success one by your arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our principal, Dr. C. Murugesan, to present the chief guest with a shawl. I now request Dr. Shaktivel Murugan, Professor in Charge, DB Jain College, to present a memento to our chief guest.
May I now call upon Dr. A. May I now call upon Dr. A. Narmada, Head of the Department of Management Studies, to give a brief note about the conference theme.
Good morning, one and all present here. The chief guest of the inaugural session, Dr. A. Sitaraman, Professor and Dean, Academic Affairs, SP Jain College of Global Management, Singapore. The chief guest of the keynote address, Dr. Sivakumar Venkataramani, Professor of International Business and Economics, Dutch College of Business, Ashland University, USA. Our respected Secretary and Correspondents, Dr. Harishal Mehta and Jaswant Munot, and Honorable Committee members of the Trust, the respected Principal in Charge, Dr. C. Murugesan, respected Professor in Charge, Dr. Saktivel Murugan, IQSC Coordinator, Dr. B. Jagadisan, and learned Professor, my dear colleagues, delegates, research scholars, my dear students, and other dignitaries. I am very pleased to be here today for the opening of this conference on corporate business strategies post-COVID-19, organized by School of Commerce and Department of Management Studies in association with IQSC of DB Jain College, Chennai. To meet the challenges posed by the pandemic, the business around the world had to react in agile and decisive ways. As we move into the next space, it's a time for the business to seek out the seize of the opportunities emerging the recovery. That involves the conducting an after-action review to collect the data and insight on lessons which is learned from the pandemic, using the priorities action to enhance the business values and build the strategy resilience for tomorrow. The business that take these steps now will be well placed to capitalize more effectively on the opportunity rising in the post-COVID-19 recovery and to continue winning their marketplace with the greater certainties and stability returns. The objective of this conference is to focus on the emerging innovative dimension of the business research. It will enable the researcher to showcase their path-breaking research in different disciplines of management and commerce. The conference will also provide a platform to researchers around the world to put forth their ideas, share their experience, and network with their counterparts. The conference will also provide a novel platform to the researcher and academicians to present the papers in the area of economics, finance and accounting, IT and e-commerce, law and business ethics, organizational behavior and HR, operation management, marketing and strategy and entrepreneurship. The theme of the conference focuses more on the business strategies and governance framework, identifying pathway to achieve economic development. We have received around 70 research papers. I express my heartfelt thanks to active participation of academicians, research scholars, professionals, and students in our International Business Research Conference. After the inaugural session, this conference will provide an opportunity for researchers and practitioners to share their understanding of current process and findings. The technical resource persons are Dr. A.V.S. Ramkumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College, Chennai; Dr. S. Ganapathy, Assistant Professor, Department of Corporate Secretaryship, SA College of Arts and Science, Chennai; Dr. S. Sasikala, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science, Institute of Distance Education, University of Madras, Chennai. The valedictory address will be given by Dr. C.A.M.S. Sankar, Chartered Accountant and Insolvency Professional, former Financial Advisor at Directorate of Collegiate Education, Chennai. The committee welcomes innovative proposals that took to the future of the field and expand and rethink the current practices. The overall conference will be interesting and interactive. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let us move to the most significant part of the event. Dhanraj Bay Jain College takes immense pleasure, pride, and is overwhelmed for releasing the conference proceedings. May I now request Dr. Sivakumar Venkataramani, Dutch College of Business and Economics, Ashland University, the United States, America, to release the proceedings. Thank you, sir. I'm profoundly delighted to call upon Dr. B. Jagdeesan to introduce the chief guest.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of IKSL and the Department of School of Commerce and the Department of Mathematics, I invite all the delegates and participants to this conference. It is my immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Dr. A. Raman, for inaugural address for the International Conference of at DBJ College, Thuraipakkam. Dr. Raman is basically a chartered accountant and a doctorate top academic honors in accounting, finance, and strategic planning. He is a first rank holder in MCOM in accounting, auditing, taxation from Annamalai University in the year of 1962. He got a first class with a distinction in MBA in finance and accounting from University of Madras in 1976. He has active participated as a faculty member for more than 25 years and a resource person in the academic institution in higher learning in accounting, finance, auditing, taxation, and strategic planning. Currently, he is serving as a Dean Academic Affairs, SP Jain Center for Management, Singapore. Formerly, he served as a Dean in the Faculty of Management and also Director of MBA and DBA programs in Multimedia University, Cyberjaya, Malaysia, and also member of the Working Group Malaysian Accounting Standards, Board to real existing accounting standards. He has a rich experience in getting international accreditation of various degree programs. He served in 3 out of 25 best business schools in Asia. He published more than 90 reviewed articles, including 27 articles highly rated ISI Thomson and Scopus, and 100 case studies, including marathon case studies, and also consultant international organizations such as UNICEF and etc. He visited Europe, USA, Africa for academic and research development. We are very fortunate to invite such a distinguished and eminent chief guest to the international conference. Already he spoke about the research and academic matters. Thank you, sir. And one more, our chief guest, Dr. Sivakumar Venkataramani, is American Professor Dr. Sivakumar Venkataramani for keynote address of the international conference at DBJ College, Thuraipakkam, Chennai. Dr. Sivakumar Venkataramani joined Ashland University, United States in 1999. He received his MBA, MS and a PhD from the University of Miami, Coral Gables, Florida. His teaching specialization involved courses in international business, international finance and emerging markets. Dr. Sukumar's research focus on foreign direct investment in developing economics, international banking and microfinance. He received an Ashland University Mentor Award in the year of 2005. He is a frequent presenter at national and international conferences and has a numerous publication in international business journals. We are very proud and fortunate to get such a eminent person to address this international conference. Hearty welcome to our division college, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Shivakumar Venkatramani, to deliver the keynote address.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's my honor to be here amongst you. So, in order to lay the foundations for some of the eminent research papers of presentation in this particular key topic. First of all, let me just thank Dr. Jayaprakash and Dr. Saktivel Murugan being instrumental in getting me here just in 2 days of time, almost roughly. So I came here last night, just close to midnight. I came home about 2 a.m. and I'm here. So I'll be here for a couple of days before I go to Austria and on my way back to the United States. So therefore, I'm making a whirlwind tour here. So anyway, let me lay the foundations. Since we are running out of time, I'm going to make a very crisp and a very quick presentation. I will also give you sufficient opportunity to ask me questions. So whatever you need to find out, I will respond in a meaningful way. Of course, you can find many of these things from the slides, so pretty much. I just want to make it visual for the reason being, when I just read the data, it may not make a sense. Sometimes when you see it on the screen, it may make quite a lot of big impressions on you. The first couple of slides will be a tragic recitation of what has gone in our time, and then let us just move forward to be very optimistic in our future outlook. Can you just move on to the next slide? Okay. So that is my title and the designation. So where I am, you can always Google me, and therefore you can find the rest of the information. And my institution carries everything. And as I just lay down this further, let me also take a brief moment to thank my university, Ashland University, and it takes a lot of pride in sending me to such events here. And they are sponsoring all of my travel expenditure for that reason also, pretty much. Particularly my thanks should go to my Dean, Dr. Ilad Granat, my Associate Dean, Dr. Ray Jacobs, who passed away last week, unfortunately, due to lung cancer, and also to my chair. I serve in different departments, so I have more than one chair. So Dr. Dan Fox, being in finance, and Dr. Bob Stahl, and also for being management and strategy courses that I teach. And I also Dr. Kasky, where I teach information systems. So therefore, I serve for 3 different chairs and an associate dean and the dean. Right now, the pressure is always on me to be the finance chair, which I'm carefully avoiding, so I want to stay away from administrative duties. So all I want to focus is my classroom and also such events like this. So that is what drives my knowledge always, that is to be always a bit and just inspiring. That's what I try to do. So therefore, the COVID-19, as we have seen, pandemics are not new to the mankind. And we have seen this plenty in mankind history. But during our generation, this is the first time that is we go through these things. And lockdowns, mask mandates, whatnot. So therefore, social distancing, everything that we learned new in the past few months. And I always get confused whether I should wear a mask or not, in what environment, etc. So therefore, because I go to many countries, each country follows a different set of rules. And during this journey, I'm making 3 different airlines, which all have 3 different rules. And I touch many countries, so on my en route, and they all have different rules and regulations. So anyway, we are all confused together in this. So that's where we are. Go further, please. Okay. So therefore, what we have seen in our humankind is there have been huge pandemics way back. So we have lost hundreds of millions of people during each era, all of these things. And so therefore, the mankind is used to this. One more. And so therefore, the recent health crisis during our time, what we have seen is, so we have lost a few people. I'm taking only the last 30, 40 years of a time period. And so the HIV AIDS is the major one where we lost many people, and continuing through this, Ebola and whatnot, everything. So I remember those times of Asian flu when I had to fly through Singapore, Hong Kong, and Kuala Lumpur, like places, how difficult it was during those days. So therefore, this is what we have experienced in the recent times. One more. And with regards to the COVID-19, as we see this, when you see the naked numbers alone, different international agencies present this kind of a data, and there will be slight differences among the various international institutions that they present. My data here comes from Johns Hopkins University, so which collects all of these things. And many people are also pessimistic about this data, and they try to tell us how each country tries to misrepresent or misquote some of these things or underrepresent some of these numbers. So anybody's guess. So therefore, I cannot vouch for those things. That's what we have. When you see these numbers, 1 million for the United States and more than 500,000, 500,000 for countries like India and Brazil, that marks a very big number. But I always just go by the percentage of a population when we compare all of these things. So therefore, you range it between 0.3 to 0.2. So therefore, that is where it is roughly. And so therefore, you can give much credit to a hugely populated country like India for a variety of these things. So therefore, it's not too bad. But the loss of more than 500,000 people is terrible. I don't dispute that at all. But somehow or other, there has been some kind of, I should say, goodwill among all of the people to protect each other. So therefore, this is what we have seen. And the country that started all of these things, that is exactly just past 3 years, it started in November of 2019. So from China and Wuhan, I was there exactly about that time, roughly about 100 kilometers away from that place, Tianjin, and where we wanted to have a continuous summer program. And so I went and inspected all of the Tianjin University during that particular months between July and October, a few visits. And then when I came back, so that is when we realized, so this country is probably propagating the new virus. So, and nobody has the courage to state that it started in Wuhan lab, how it started, etc. At least a few people are courageous in saying that. And now we can get to see what's going on in cities like Shanghai and Beijing. So 3 days ago, I asked one of my students from that place. So he's from that area, Shanghai. How do you feel about your countries being locked down outside of your home? So therefore, somebody comes and then locks your door from outside, you cannot get out. And he says, in order to protect people, that is okay, I can live with it. So maybe a person, average person from China, they are used to that kind of a military rule, a communist administration. And we are all free birds coming from India and the United States, these places. And so therefore, for us, it does not make any sense to be locked outside. And so therefore, we always believe in civil liberty and individual liberty. And so therefore, honestly, many people like us, and having been used to India and the United States, we do not cherish the values of our democracy. It's quite a lot. Only in its absence we can find out what it makes sense. So that is where we are with regards to the COVID-19 deaths. And I teach predominantly in Brazil. I will speak a little bit about Brazil when we go there. That country is also very much deeply affected because of this. So therefore, the debate is ongoing whether to have a vaccination or not. And so I leave it to each individual to make this particular call, whether to get pharmaceutical companies. They came up with the vaccinations in pretty much in no time overall, in less than a year or so. Therefore, left to myself, I made the decision to get vaccinated. So therefore, I got 2 vaccinations and 2 boosters. So therefore, I'm fully vaccinated. With that card in my hand, I'm able to travel a little bit freely. So therefore, that is also makes sense. So this is where we are all. So, and sometimes the employers make the call, that is, we should vaccinate. And so therefore, we follow various guidelines, please. So therefore, there's a kind of an uneven vaccine rollout in many countries, whether they have access to these. The GDP loss during this time, March 2020, I recall on that day very fondly. The March 13th of 2020 was the day that is when all of the international flights got stopped. I was there actually, that is way off in Delhi, about 300 kilometers from Delhi. I was in a remote village. And so that is when I read the call, so international flights will be stopped. Immediately I ran into a taxi cab and asked the driver to take me to Delhi. Right, so just to Frankfurt and then to India, so to United States. So I did not get completely stopped here. And yesterday Lufthansa started its inaugural flight back to Madras. So therefore I took the same inaugural flight. I landed here midnight, so last night. So that is where we lost so much. Whether it is low income, high income countries, they all have lost so much of their GDP. Move on to the next one. So the world's 7 largest economies, how they have suffered, all of them are in huge negative. So ranging close to 10. Positive GDP growth even during that time when all of us went through this kind of a suffering overall. The country that caused this, and eventually that got quite a lot of a GDP growth at the expense of others. Please. So rising unemployment in many countries because of the pandemic, and so therefore Brazil year in order to teach, and I will speak about Brazil in context. Go ahead. Shopping, so fast-moving consumer goods alone, taking into consideration, almost all countries are in double-digit shopping stall. So therefore, they all could not even do this, continue to buy things that they normally do because of loss of malls closure, shoppings closure, etc. All those things are another reason, please. Okay, tourism. Almost all countries completely were absent of tourism. They all lost their tourism dollars because the background, please go forward. I've got to make it a little bit fast because we are running short of time. I don't want because of me overall. So when you look at the tourism impact, look. Let's go. The government funding for, so I'm just picking out one. Names of the airline industry, so how many thousands of crores of rupees they all received because of this. So wage subsidies and taxes, whatnot. Go forward. Okay, government funding. So therefore, in North America, 105 billion onwards. So even Africa, so $2 billion. So how much that they have given? There is a plenty of reason why airline industry had to be supported by various governments. I will speak about that a little. So just imagine the cost of an aircraft. It is very rare to find the smaller aircrafts in the Indian skies. Most of them are decent size. But in many of the European and North American markets, we have the regional aircrafts, which will normally take about 40 passengers maximum, or 25 passengers on an average, like this. And so if you think of the cost of an aircraft, the A320, 220 series Airbus, or Boeing 737s, 747 jumbo jets, etc., the chassis alone will cost $700 million. And when you add the seats and all other equipment, electronic equipments, it's about $1 billion per aircraft. Each baby is going to cost $1 billion at least. And most of them are lease basis. And so companies cannot afford to buy the aircrafts themselves. So when you look at this, the landing fees will be approximately $12 per 1,000 pounds. So therefore 500 kilograms like this. And refuel, whatever current to market rate, that's what they are going to have in this. So therefore the parking fees, and you cannot imagine the parking fees, which I will speak a little bit. So $100 per ton, so per hour, like this. When an aircraft lands, the domestic aircraft, if it leaves within 2 hours, it is free of cost because it is all covered in refuel. But if they are going to be there more than 2 hours, they will have to pay this kind of $100 per hour per ton, 500 kilograms per, so they're roughly in that overall. So a small aircraft base 110, normally you don't have it here, but typically we see the aircrafts of 225 tons on basis. So roughly it starts a minimum of $11,000 per hour to $22,500 per hour of parking. So if you can imagine March 13th, India stopped her traffic by March 19th. So if you look at any aircraft that is being held here in Madras airport or various other airports everywhere, they will have to pay this fees to the airport authority, International Airport Authority of India, typically, and other countries as well. Not a single airline can afford these things overall, leave alone the hangar expenses, just being at the gate like this. So therefore, this is why airline industry needed to be additionally funded because of various reasons. Go ahead. So, you know, in general, we measure the prosperity of a country or the poverty of a country by looking at the hunger index. And I don't want to spend a lot of time in this, but particularly when you look at the BRIC countries, so since I have been visiting China quite a lot and Brazil a lot, I can measure this. So both countries have accomplished a lot. So therefore, their hunger level is near zero, which needs a lot of congratulations. But only in India, we have accomplished only 1/3 success, but 2/3 yet to go. So therefore, that's where we are. We can move forward. So the GDP projection looks like somewhat optimistic right now. So we will see when we actually count in dollars in this case. Move on. So, and the supply chain fragmentation and a complete meltdown in that area is visible for many of the industries. And most of the newspapers, they try to cover the automobile industry in particular. That is what the consumers normally look at in this case. And in the US, it is amazing. So therefore, I have 3 years. So all we try to find is just the raw vegetables, green vegetables that we cannot find. And I'm not a meat eater, so therefore I cannot say much about it directly, but I learn it from my colleagues and my students, and they report the same thing overall. So therefore, the supply chain is completely broken, and it is going to take a long time. This is where most of the emerging markets will have quite a lot of potential for them to fill in. So what else? So therefore, shortage of trucks and if trucks are available, the trailers are not available. Therefore, on an average, they are about 110 feet, the trailers alone. So if you see the trucks, there are not trailers. If you see both, you don't have the chassis. If you have all of them together, the drivers are not there. So therefore, this is what's struggling all of the industries intact. So in inflation, pretty much that is what is bothering most of us right now. And you could have seen in the markets how they are taking a dive day after day after day. Particularly yesterday, the U.S. financial market lost more than 3% of the value in that case. So therefore, this is typically telling upon any average person. So the way of the inflation. Sometimes when you look at the petrol, what we call petrol, the gasoline expenses, normally we will blame our respective prime ministers and presidents. That's what's currently going on. But that's the fuel prices. You cannot overcome this one. And probably you are not used to that kind of electricity rates in India, because typically in Tamil Nadu everything comes from TNEB. And we in the US, we can purchase electricity from any company that we like. So there are 10, 15 companies that are around my area that I can buy electricity from. So I find whoever supplies the cheapest electricity to me, so that's where I will buy. Similarly, my natural gas I will buy from there, so to heat my home. So therefore, in that kind of an expenditure, when you see this, typically it is a telling on each person's salary at the end of the day, ultimately. So this is where we are going to have quite a lot of impact in days to come. So the fuel prices, I start way back during President Clinton's era, when it was so much down. The petrol was at a throwaway price during those days. So President Biden's policy to kill that industry, so that is where we are going. So people are probably looking forward to buying an electricity car in future, and the government is going to offer roughly about $100 of a personal subsidy to each person every month. And the people may be attracted. Oh, I will get $100 free every month from the government. But the state government is going to increase the fuel taxes because of that, because we are not paying fuel taxes now. So they are going to extract more than $500 from each person. So therefore, that is how it will go. And the battery price for an electric car is going to be humongous amount of $15,000 or so. If the battery is gone, you have to buy one immediately. So probably not during the recent times, the electricity cars will have a very popular appeal anywhere, it looks like. Go ahead. So the semiconductor shortage has thrown the automobile industry into a retail price, MSRP, please. Because the way that is the real estate property in China, both in Beijing and Shanghai, were destructed. Go to the next slide too, and the following too, and they were all available in the videos, but the Chinese government has taken them out of now circulation, so you cannot see that. Go to the next one. So therefore, they brought down all of these skyscrapers in no time. So there is a reason why I talk about the real estate properties in China. I will come to that momentarily. Move forward. So the if you look at the country profiles, I'm going to take only the BRIC countries in context and also in comparison with the US. Talking about, I will leave the war and its impact currently out of place, so therefore that's not the time to speak about this. If you look at a country like Brazil, she's suffering a lot because of this. Even though it has a decent President Bolsonaro and going through quite a lot of difficulties. In China, Chairman Xi has elected himself forever, and so therefore we are not likely to see any change in the administration, and probably not in Russia as well. Putin will stay in place for quite some time, so we will get to see at least. So in democracies, if you do not like the government, in Brazil they can change Bolsonaro. In October they are going to have an election. That's what my Brazilian students always ask me. Will Bolsonaro get a re-election bid or not in that case? So therefore, and similarly in India as well. So we are gifted to have a vote in our hand. So that's very fortunate. Move forward. We will skip this. So I don't have time to speak on this. So therefore, move forward again. Move forward. Okay. Let me just speak about Brazil for a minute. And so this is a country that is, I have quite a lot of personal knowledge, and I always, this is a huge country. Huge means enormous in that case. I cover only one district, probably one state there. Can we go to the next slide? This is the state that normally I cover, Santa Catarina. And there are hundreds of venues there. So far I have covered about 30 of them. So therefore, Lajes, Cananinas, Criciúma, etc., all those places. And wherever I land, I have to take 3 flights. So even from a domestic airport, I have to go at least 300 kilometers inside, so into those jungles in order to teach in a particular place. It's quite a lot of a fresh experience. So the ocean on the one side, the mountain on the other side, everywhere green, and all of these Amazon jungles. That is what I get to see almost every now and then. Move forward. Let us talk about some of the presidents in Brazil. So this is Dilma Rousseff. She was impeached some years ago, very recently. Why was she impeached? Did she steal any money? No. All she did was she transferred her federal budget, central budget as we will call, from one department to another department. Let us say she authenticated the allocation of expenditure in a Department of Education. She got the money from Public Works or Welfare or something like another department of healthcare. So she did not steal any money or anything. It is only reallocation of the budget. All that she did, she was immediately impeached by her parliament. So she had to step out of office. Go to the next one. And this is Lula, Ignacio Lula. And he was the next president who followed. And he was also not only impeached, he was also imprisoned. And so what did he do? He stayed in an apartment. The total price of that apartment is about $200,000. That is all. The party had bought that apartment. He stayed there for a month free of rent. And that is all. And for that reason, he was imprisoned. So impeached first and then imprisoned immediately. And then people say he was caught in a scandal, but nothing has been proved yet. We do not even know this. Go to the next one. So this is a prison in Curitiba, because I got this photograph. That is the day I landed in Curitiba to teach that. And this is the prison he opened during his presidency. And this is where he is currently being housed. So he is now just an inmate in that prison that he opened once overall. So go to the next one. So therefore, the following President Temer, he was also instrumental in creating a lot of financial reforms. And he was also involved in a scandal. Nothing has been proved yet whether he was actually fraudulent or not. But anyway, he is also thrown into prison immediately, followed by. Probably you saw this in the news, but it never attracted your attention. So therefore, it is Derek Krajcik. Krajcik was a member of a parliament in Slovenia, And I also visit these countries, so therefore I have to get some of this information. Couple of years ago, so he went into a sandwich shop, so let us say Subway or something like this, and he picked up a sandwich. The cashier did not pay attention to him. He called her 3 or 4 times, look, I need this sandwich, it's only about $3 or so in price, so not even 200 rupees, something like this. So he wanted to pay for this. The cashier was busy and she did not pay attention to him, so he walked out in anger with that sandwich in hand. And his conscience killed him, so therefore the following day he came to the same sandwich shop. He said, here is my $3. I could not give you yesterday because you did not pay attention to me. So for being honest, it was immediately reported in the press and he had to resign. So therefore out of a shame. So what I mean to tell you here is, so with or without COVID and with so many sufferings just all around us, there is still room for honesty. There is still room for ethics. It is being respected in many places. Please move forward. So therefore, and this is an index that comes out year after year after year. I'm going to just pick only one, which I placed here in bold font. As soon as you see that, so when you need a construction permit, you need an approval from a respective government authority. This is a killer in many countries, and particularly in India. I don't know how many people can immediately react to this. If you are following the news, particularly in Madras here in Chennai, you will know immediately what I mean in this case. So therefore, go forward. Probably somebody will recognize this. So when you look at the most problematic factors, so only one thing I have highlighted there. So corruption is common for Russia and India. China is not an exception. I know a lot about corruption in China, but there is no time for me to speak on this, so therefore I'm going to move forward. And Brazil as well. So Brazil, Russia and India have China in its forefront. Move forward. So therefore, this is just a ranking. Move forward. Let's just speak. Go to that. So the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act tells you, normally it is expected, any person connected with the U.S. normally will not accept a bribe. But occasionally when we are posted outside of the United States, we have got to give bribes either to a customs officer or to a government officer or something like this for getting the paperwork done. And this is where we get caught in many of these things. So it tells very clearly, thou shalt not offer a bribe. That's all basically. You will not accept, thou shalt not offer a bribe to move forward. So just can you go back to that slide? Anybody remembers the Cognizant story? If you are in Madras, you should know this. So therefore, I'm not going to speak about it because I'm on record. So I will just go only to the official information that's available. So with regards to Cognizant, something unethical happened in Madras here in India. So the higher officials in the United States, it is a US registered company. So they found out something unethical happened in India. So therefore, the two big officers, the CEO and the CFO, they went to immediately the Securities Exchange Corporation in the United States in New York. And they disclosed, our internal investigation shows there was something unethical and illegal happened in our Madras office in India. And so we are going to confess this. This came through our transparency studies, and that is what they reported. And within a couple of days or so, the two officers were indicted. And I think they will go to prison. So right now the case is going on. And this was a corruption that involved about less than $4 million of bribe. Overall, the bribe was given here in Tamil Nadu, India. And because of this, how much of a penalty that this company had to pay? So therefore, they say $95 million may be the settlement fee in a civil court. I think $500 million will be there in the federal court for that, roughly. So therefore, this is how much of damage is going to be paid because of this. So that is the reason why I placed the construction work in a very bold font and then brought it up with regards to this context. Move forward overall. So this is what I have collected. What is the corruption rate in the construction business in India overall? So therefore, by way of numerous interviews and everything, I cannot divulge any of the details here. it looks like about a 35% of each Indian rupee will go towards a bribe ultimately. So therefore, various authorities, right from the top to the bottom, everybody is covered in this overall. Does China dominate? So this is where we have got to appreciate the wisdom of Prime Minister Modi, who recognizes this and also recognizes Brazil, and he's in talks with Brazil to have a clearing bank for these two countries. Maybe he may or may not include Russia and China as well in this case, but anyway, Brazil and India probably will have a direct partnership. More or less it is equivalent of an Asian clearing union, but that will be a clearing bank for our export-import trade. So does China dominate? Let's just move forward one thing. And in various deals, it looks like overall. So therefore, I've got for each country studies done like this. If you can go forward, these are all just one after the other various regions. Take one more, please. And so therefore, look at this. So if you look at the number of industries where China has made the recent investment, it is all through the length and breadth. So therefore, she is taking over almost all the sectors. And particularly in Africa, in many countries, where in the name of creating infrastructure, she will have numerous raw material resources in terms of metals, minerals, ores, and also a lot of food products, not only from Africa, but including North America and South America. Even my students in Brazil are not aware of how much of investment China is currently making in Brazil. So therefore, I've got to bring them to senses. And then they understand, okay, this is going to be the impact. So therefore, for many, many decades to come, China is going to dominate the entire food industry also. Therefore, many people may stay hungry in many countries, or you will see a lot of price increases for each and everything because of China's involvement in many of these places. And I will just finish it with one anecdotal note. I know a fellow professor from China. She is from Beijing. That is where she went to school, right from elementary school until her first master's. And then she came to PhD in the US. Then she settled down there. And she tells me whenever she visits her parents in Beijing, she always carries her food from the United States into China. Even when she is there for a week, born and raised in that country, she will not touch any of the food in China because she says that is contaminated. And she always advises me, don't buy anything from the Chinese grocery store. Of course, I don't have any reason to go to a Chinese grocery store anyway. So she tells me, the food is contaminated, never touch it overall. So that is where the dominance of China is currently taking place. So therefore, a country like Sri Lanka probably has not paid much attention to this. But we, at least with an international perspective, we are aware of what's going on in that case. You may remember the good old days where thanks to the British legacy, India got its railway network and Sri Lanka got its broadcasting system. So therefore, now Sri Lanka is moving in another direction with its cooperation with China. Move forward. So therefore, I will stop here. Go to the final slide when it says thank you. So therefore, you can just. So I will lay the foundation here for the previous slide tells you how even in a financial crisis, only the big countries had to step in and assist. But thanks to COVID, 220 countries, you cannot even imagine, almost all of the poorest countries have also had to step in. And I said it in another event. If you look at the picture of our Honorable Finance Minister, Mrs. Sitaraman, when she presented the central budget in February of 2020, and also her pictures in the newspapers and the television in April of 2020, within 2 months, so she gained the age of like 10, 15 years overall. So therefore you could see, because her role was to find money that never existed. So create the money that never existed. So that is where we are. And if you have any specific questions, if time permits, I will take it. Otherwise, we will have to slide here overall. I will leave it to the administrators. Once again, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your patience and indulgence.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening, informative, and thought provoking address. Your insights and your words of knowledge would help the audience. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. May I now call upon Dr. S. Balaji, IQAC Associate Coordinator, to propose the vote of thanks.
So respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, we are in the concluding part of today's inaugural session. So our sincere thanks to Professor Sitaraman from Singapore SP Jain Institute of Management for the inaugural address, and Professor Sivakumar Vengatramani, professor from USA, for the valuable presence and key address. So we say our gratitude. Your presence today has immensely enhanced the importance of the conference. We extend our humble gratitude to our management, principal, professor in charge, teaching fraternity, and technical support staff. We place on record our deep sense of gratitude to all the sponsors of today's conference. We express a grateful thanks to all the international and national delegates, chairpersons of today's sessions who gathered here. I also welcome Professor Dr. Ganapati and Professor Dr. Aisha Begum, who chaired for the inaugural session. Finally, our wishes to paper publishers and paper presentation for today's function. I extend thanks and express your presence for today's event till the validatory. Thank you very much.
Now we have come to the end of the inaugural session. Next we'll be moving to the special address session. As we move on to the special address session, to first lead us into the proceedings will be Dr. Damodaran Varadarajan. I invite Dr. Damodaran Varadarajan, Instructor, Business, Dubai Women's College. He is a scholar of extraordinary versatility. He has a burning passion not only for the acquisition of knowledge, but for the dissemination of the same. A brilliant alumni of Loyola College, Madras, he obtained his bachelor and master's in commerce, winning 3 gold medals. His passion for teaching and research, perseverance, sincerity, and industry won him a PhD in the year 2006. His thirst for knowledge prompted him to acquire 2 degrees in the branch of his choice, one from the School of University of Pennsylvania, USA, and the other a honors degree from Oxford Brookes University, UK. He has won many professional qualifications and is noteworthy for his praiseworthy performance and contribution to teaching. Many an organization of international repute has honored him by presenting prestigious awards such as Championship Award in the year 2016, Excellence Award by International Council of Business School, and other programs. With this short intro, I invite Dr. Damodaran to lead the proceedings.
Hello from all of you. Can anyone confirm that? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, all of you. Today, I'm going to present on data analysis introduction. This is, information related to data analytics. The most important thing in terms of data analytics, what we are moving around, can be, seen from this following slide. So, in terms of information, I'm not going in detail. My name is Dr. D. 25 years of experience in teaching, consulting, and so on and so forth. Getting back to the topic, the most important thing is I just want to share this information. Okay, I had 6 honors. They taught me all I knew in terms of their names, where, what, when, how, why. So this is one of the anecdotes from analytical in terms of these 6 headings. The first one, where, if you're getting into why. If you think about 1 minute, what happens in this world? 1 minute is 60 seconds. I'm just giving you a glimpse of what happened in terms of Google. If you look into it, that's 5.7 million searches that have been taken over, 167 million videos have been watched in TikTok. So if you look into technological changes, the entire slide will give you the glimpse of what's happening in terms of technology, in terms of data. So 1 minute, what happens in the entire world. So based on this fact, if you look into it, what is important? Data, previously we considered oil as, even the previous speaker, Dr. Shivakumar mentioned with oil, but now the things are going to change faster. Data is the new oil. Without data, you are blind and deaf, and without which is going to happen in this part of the world. What are the things which is going to happen across us? It can be online shopping, it can be smart cities, it can be health related, it can be finance, risk, genetic, it can be web data, logistic data, it can be agricultural data, it can be sensor data. Basically, we are connected with data, including me, you, everybody. So in terms of what happening, so how do they do data analytical? What are the different names given? What are the basic areas given? So if you need to know data analytical, anybody who's good at it, anybody using data analytical will know search whether you are connected with something or another. This is what is important. First one is called descriptive, which gives you insight. Second one is called diagnostic, which give you once again insight of the data. Third one is called analysis, which gives you context, and the last one is called cognitive analytical, which draw inferences. So if you're going to connect it to data, if you're going to do research, if you're going to use data, then comes that. So this key information is going to affect us in education, healthcare, communication, construction, manufacturing, retail, transportation. All these industries have the impact of it. So the exabytes of data created between dawn to civilization. So if we go back to centuries back, and then try to collect data until 2003, we just collected data one day in 2022. Just 2 days we collect the same data. So data is growing at a very faster rate compared to anything else. So in terms of this, which is 3.4, which is 5.2, predicting, in terms of information, it's moving to data. The various visuals I have used in this slide, you can go to domo.com and refer to it. In terms of information, this is what the changes are. So the data can be useful because of these information. It can be five types. It can capture the data, it can process the data, it can store the data, or it can analyze. You will be involved in data. So your data can be captured by somebody, or you'll be involved in the process, or it can be stored or used. Moving further, if you're looking into it, fraud detection, customer analytics, in terms of personalized services, in terms of hospitals, in terms of universities, in terms of in which it is going to grow. Finally, if you're looking into it, who's going to use the data or the person involved in the data, if you're looking into it, can be called as a data analyst, you can be a data visualization, you can do machine learning, you can learn skills which are basic statistical testing skills. If you're good in mathematics, you should be good enough to handle data or understanding about data. What are the jobs available for people? In the future, data scientist, it can be data processor, visualizer, innovator, researcher, data miner, data can aim in the future. Then, so this is the most interesting part of data analysis in terms of information. Look at the on January 2022, 7.91 billion in terms of urbanization we are using unique mobile user. Once again, the data can be always say, so it's not that all the population is using it. Sometimes it may be misinterpreted. But the most important thing is internet user. Look at the mobile social media users. So basically, so this is a big change in terms of understanding about data. Revenue generated by companies for a minute, per minute, which is once again dogo.com. We can go and refer to the data which close to $1 million, which is 955 lakh, 9 lakh 55. But Microsoft, Facebook, so it goes on and on. So the revenue generated per minute is in terms of astronomy. These are the countries which is going to rule the world in terms of data. Every company is going to aim these people in the next 10 years. Obviously, India, if you look into population, next comes China, which is 41%, then comes Pakistan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, ruled by our people in terms of Asian market. So if you look into most of the countries of Asia, those there are African countries and Indonesia comes across. So this is going to be a kind of sharing of data. So if you look into the CEO's age and the wealth accumulated, all are Indians in the slide, business, their wealth generation. So you can see, amazed to see that, wealth, because of education, because of their talent, because of their, information they have developed over a period of time. With this, I've talked about the data analyst session, the president, Dr. Arish, the secretary, Sri Jayant, the secretary, and Dr. C. Principal, and Dr. A. Sitaraman, and Dr. Kumar, and all the fellow researchers, students, and you are welcome. Otherwise, you can connect me in the following link with the QR code. Thank you.
Now, our next speaker will be Aisha Begum ma'am. For the felicitation, I invite our principal in charge, Dr. C. Murugesan sir, to present a memento to Dr. Aisha Begum. Next, I invite Dr. Lavanya to present shawl to Dr. Aisha Begum.
Very good morning to one and all present in this business conference for post-COVID. It is my pleasure to present and congratulate the chairman, the principal, and Dr. Shaktivel Murugan, Dr. Sivakumar, and all the eminent personalities who have been in the building of this conference. It is my pleasure to present or congratulate this team of people who have made this event a grand success. The title Corporate Business Strategies Post-COVID-19 have created a wide impact in the global economy, but the global business houses of development strategies to meet the challenges arising out of COVID phenomenon. It is indeed my pleasure and privilege to wish the conference of DB Jain College successful one. The conference cover all the functional areas of business strategies to meet the challenges arising out of the post-COVID-19. I wish and bless the conference a grand success. And my special gratitude to Dr. Shaktivel Murugan for giving me an opportunity to participate in this business seminar on post-COVID-19. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Ms. C. Kala, lecturer, Department of Management Studies, Natesan Institute of Cooperative Management, Chennai, to address the gathering.
You're able to hear me, ma? Hello, you're able to hear me? Hello. Hello, ma? You're able to hear me, ma? Hello. Yeah, thank you, ma. Thank you. I'll just present my screen. The screen is visible, ma? Yeah, thank you, ma. A very good morning to one and all present here. It gives me an immense pleasure to be part of this international conference program. My special thanks to the chairman, principal, and Dr. Shaktivel sir for providing me these opportunities. We are going to see today the challenges which are being faced by the HR professional in post-pandemic. Changes are inevitable. It is very hard for every employer and employees to deal with sudden changes. But these changes are going to be the backbone for the employee to feel themselves a control. HR professionals are trying to implement these changes by balancing both the need of the employee and the employers. The future of work, how the future of organizations are going to be. Every organization which is going to foresee the future will be searching for their footing and establishing the way of working to shape their collaborative culture. When organizations think about location, returning to traditional way of working together always may not work out, as today's employees expect something different. Flexible work mindset has increased in employees, and hence they need to think in a progressive way and apply different modes of working strategy to survive and to succeed. It's clear that the future is going to be hybrid. Hybrid work could be the game changer in the workplace. Flexibility is the expectation of the day. HR managers were rethinking their role during COVID-19. COVID-19 time posted great challenges for HR practitioners to survive during pandemic. It has pushed them to rethink their HRM strategy, to go behind the traditional methods by positioning new information technology as an essential partner to survive and sustain in business. They implemented remote work culture. More importance were being given to health and safety. Employees were being kept productive and engaged. One of the research even says that a consistent recognition fuels employee motivation with 40%, and hence they were putting more energy into their job. Working hours were also being different, not practiced earlier from employee perspective. What are the after effects? Today, it's the right time for HR professional to plan. Once you plan now, so that you can reap your future tomorrow. Reason to change. Why we need to change? First and foremost, we need to create a trust among the employees. So employees should feel that they are worth into the organization. The solution to maintain the trust is going to lie on collaboration, communication, and emotionally intelligent leadership. Two key aspects of working is going to change the environment as such. One is going to be the flexible work practice, another is hygiene. Preventive health and holistic well-being should be the top for the employees, as employees are going to be our asset. Worksite need a change. It's not going to be the same as we did earlier from home and office. They expect some changes. We need to share everything, all the news with the employees, so that we will have a productive environment. Some of the challenges which the HR professionals are going to face in the post-pandemic are reimaging or ironing the recruitment process. Organization that is going to make use of artificial intelligence and technology as a significant part of their hiring strategy are sure to raise the edge in the road of recovery. By shifting ourselves into a recruitment strategy that is going to capture remote workers who are proactive and practice self-leadership to manage the remote work culture are going to survive there. As a big chunk of people are expecting a hybrid work culture, falling back to the old pattern of working will not be effective. One of the report of NASSCOM even reveals that 70% of the employees prefer hybrid variety of working, as traveling time and cost can be reduced. A global study reveals that digital transformation is adopted in all the areas where HR is lagging behind. Hence, policies need to be redefined. Policies related to HR on work, health, leave, absenteeism, all has to be redefined. Staying flexible, this is going to be the need of our. It is becoming a key component in how we have to fit it into our lives. Pandemic has shifted the way companies were doing their business. As they require different skilled people, internally organization has to develop the learning and development programs. People-centric strategy can replenish employee morale and refuel productivity in the post-pandemic workforce. To build more responsive organization, we need to involve employees from all the background so that the organization can design a new workforce. The other challenge which is going to be faced by HR professional is employee training. World Economic Forum estimates that 44% of the employees' current skills need to be replaced by 2025. It means training is the area where we have to give more concentration. It is high on agenda for organization looking to not just survive, but to thrive in this post-pandemic world. I think grooming the workforce by implementing mentorship program will be effective for bringing out better skilled people. Compensation. When we talk about compensation, each organization is following a different pay scale. In future, compensation model will be based on the place where the employee is going to work from. Google has already started a plan to adjust employee compensation, which is going to be based on local market wage, where an employee is going to work from. Retention, to retain employees, this is going to be a very difficult task for HR people. They have to focus on career empowerment, flexibility in work-life balance, working environment that is going to provide them and promote with diversity, equity, and inclusion. HRs need to give a culture that is inclusive by addressing an inequality. Communication, organization need to follow asynchronous culture that will help employee to speak very freely and clearly. To meet the new normal, HR has to create an environment for employee to engage themselves, because engaged employee is going to build more strong and resilient organization. To manage employee, first we need to invest in the wellness program, offer them the growth and engagement opportunities, understand their needs and challenges which is being faced by them. Finally, increasing in organization complicity. So we need to develop a resource and build a platform to provide visibility into the internal challenges and positions that every employee are wishing to face. Finally, I want to just conclude by saying that return to work without a proper framework will not be a success. Three key elements that has to be concentrated when an HR plans for a framework is about understand the people and their changing preferences, understand the customer and their changing preferences, invest on people for improvement in performance. HR professional need to strike a balance between the need for the client and the employees to succeed and thrive to go on successful for the future. Thank you so much. If any questions, the questions are welcome. You're able to hear me, ma'am?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Justice Bashir
Hello, you're able to hear me?
Ahmed Syed College, to address the gathering. Next, I invite Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Justice Bashir Ahmed Syed College for Women, to address the gathering. Ma'am, can you hear us, ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear us, ma'am? Gayatri, ma'am, can you hear us? can you hear us now, ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear us now?
Yes, I am able to hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. We are able to hear you, ma'am. You can proceed, ma'am.
I should start the session right now.
Yeah, very much, ma'am.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. Let me present the PPT. Are you able to see the screen?
Ma'am, your slide is visible, ma'am. You can start the presentation, ma'am.
Can I start the presentation?
Yes.
Is it visible? Can I start the presentation?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am. You can start presenting, ma'am.
Okay. Very good morning to one and all present here. I'm Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor from the Department of Commerce and the coordinator of the Multidisciplinary Research and Consultancy Center at the Justice Bashir Ahmed Syed College for Women, Chennai. At the outset, I thank Dr. Shaktivel Murugan, my guide, for giving me this opportunity to be in your midst. The topic that I have taken up today is on cashless transactions. I think all of you will agree, after the pandemic, many of us have transitioned to making online payments. And cashless transactions have picked up quickly after demonetization, and the pandemic has furthered that pace. Businesses are adapting to this shift, and we are slowly moving towards a cashless economy. I would now like to run you through what a cashless economy is. A cashless economy can be said as one where paper and coins are not used for financial transactions. Instead, all transactions are carried out through electronic means like your debit and credit cards, electronic wallets, and electronic payment systems like the IMPS, which is the Immediate Payment Service, or the NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer, and RTGS methodologies. RTGS stands for real-time gross settlements, are used for making payments. So these are referred to, or when transactions are done through these means, it's referred to as a cashless transaction. Now let me walk you through and let's see how cashless the world is actually. To help us understand how many cashless transactions are done, I would like you to look at how many banknotes and coins are there in circulation in the year 2020. What is the amount, or what is the value of coins and notes that are actually in circulation? You will find if you take the total value, the United States, Japan, and China have the highest value as far as banknotes and coins in circulation are concerned. But the same, when you take it as a percentage of GDP, you will find that the Japan again, Hong Kong, and India have the highest percentage. Whereas if you read it as a percentage of narrow money, when we say narrow money is your banknotes and coins and fixed deposits, that is funds that can be liquidated immediately. It comes to 64.7%, which is one of the highest in the world. So it is very clearly seen that we are a cash intensive economy. We do have a lot of cash as such in hand. We use a lot of cash as such in hand. Now, but that is not the situation. Now, let me run you through the actual volume of cashless payments that have been made over the years. If you look from the year 2016, you will find that we have had a fourfold increase in the volume of cashless payments. The number of millions of cashless payments have been done. It stands at 40,628. Likewise, the value of cashless payments have also is steadily increasing, has gone up from 221 trillion to 392 trillion. So slowly we are going into a cashless economy. We are doing more of cashless transactions. Now, let me walk you through the different modes of cashless payment. The central government has brought out the Digital India initiatives, and so many methods of cashless transactions have been enabled. Now, these are some of the methods that are presently available with us. The first one, banking cards. Well, by banking card, I mean the debit card, the credit card, and the travel cards that are issued by RuPay, Visa, and MasterCards. These cards come with two-factor authentication, a PIN and an OTP, and these transactions are pretty secure. They've been there for a pretty long period of time. The second one, the unstructured supplementary data service. I think all of us will agree that India still has a lot of rural population. To manage or to meet the needs of the unbanked population, and for the ones with without internet connection, the USSD has been started. Now, as far as the USSD is concerned, the service is offered by all mobile service providers, and around 51 banks offer this service, where you can use *99#. That number, the *99# can be used to complete online transactions or cashless transactions. The third one, AEPs, very nascent stage. They are at a very nascent stage. AEP stands for Aadhaar-enabled payment systems. Aadhaar-enabled payment systems are where authentication is done through Aadhaar and the banks carry out the transactions. This is still at a very, very nascent stage. The next method, the UPI, the Unified Payment Interface, all of you will agree that UPI is, we have the BEAM app that was developed by the government of India, and a lot of us use the BEAM app. Multiple bank accounts can be powered into a single mobile application through the UPI. And each bank provides their own UPI app for Android, Windows, and iOS mobile platforms. So this is a lot of transactions. It offers a slew of services also. The next one, mobile wallets. Classic example, the one that is very popular is the Paytm app. What does a mobile wallet actually do? A mobile wallet is a way to carry cash in a digital format. And you keep loading that digital wallet with whatever money you want. And most banks have their own e-wallets. We have PhonePe, Freecharge, Airtel Money, Jio Money, SBI Buddy, Citrus Pay. The list is endless. We can go on. More are there in the list. Those are the mobile wallets. Bank prepaid cards. These are cards meant for people who are averse to conduct online transactions. So you can set limits for your online transactions and use these cards for online transactions. So safety of funds is assured through this route. The next method, point of service devices. POS devices are handheld devices, and internet connectivity is there to these devices. And any of the cards that we own can be used to complete a transaction. And a very recent addition, though not in India, in other countries, using near-field communication technology, all you have to do is tap the card and make the payment. It's still not been enabled in India, but we do have the NFC technology that has come in where the whole transaction is contactless. The next methodology is the internet banking. Internet banking, also known as the online banking. In fact, internet banking has created a means through which we need not even step into a bank. All transactions can be done through internet banking. The IMPS, NEFT, RTGS services can be availed by sitting in the location where you are. Mobile banking is also becoming a very, very popular method of conducting cashless transactions. Everything that is offered through internet banking is offered under mobile banking also. And each bank provides its own mobile banking application for Android, Windows, and iOS. The last one, micro ATMs. This is at a very nascent stage. The idea here is that there are so many rural areas which remain unbanked in the country. So the idea is to create people referred to as business correspondents, BCs. They will be called BCs. And these BCs will deliver the basic banking services. For example, a Kirana shop owner can become a business correspondent, and he will help conduct transactions on behalf of a customer. That is the idea. Micro ATMs, these are called, very nascent stage. They are being getting implemented at a very, very small level. So these are the different modes of cashless transactions that are available to us. And I think many of this we have as such started embracing in the urban areas. Now let's walk you through some of the benefits that businesses have because of these transactions. Since all transactions are accounted for, the biggest benefit is that it offers a lot of transparency, scalability, and accountability. It's very, very convenient. No contactless payment can be made, and a receipt also is very easy. These transactions are much, much faster. Results prove that they are faster by at least 15%. And a lot of risks like counterfeit money, theft by employees, and burglary are all reduced. Likewise, there is always a physical cost of carrying cash and processing cash. Those costs are reduced. Now, what about the benefits to business? The benefits to government is so much that we will be able to reduce the black economy or the underground markets because we are accounting for everything. Now, this in turn increases the tax base also, and because of which money laundering also gets reduced. And because all data is collected, there is economic data. Giving the economic data will become very easy for the government. And there are less production costs related to printing of money and minting of coins. That's an important saving that we reap. But although we have all these benefits, we cannot cross this topic without addressing the challenges that are there in transitioning to a cashless economy. The very first of them being lack of infrastructure, adequate infrastructure. As far as India is concerned, we do not have the last mile internet connectivity. Our internet penetration rate is about 45%, and our smartphone penetration rate is about 54%. There is still a vast amount of improvement left in the area of improving infrastructure. The second one is the financial inclusion of the unbanked population. We will have to devise ways through which you can include the poor, the elderly, the disabled, the undocumented immigrants, and I even think young children should be, there has to be a mechanism through which it can be offered to all these people as well. Cyber security. I think the greatest scare that is in place is internet fraud, and we hear about it so often. So security needs to be enhanced. When a payment is made to an NGO, you are suddenly flooded with messages and you are flooded with mails. So you wonder, has my security been compromised somewhere? So cyber security is one area that will have to be taken care of. The next challenge that needs to be addressed is the digital and financial literacy. people should be made aware of all the modalities and methods that are there for making cashless payments. The next challenge is the urban-rural divide. While the urban population has all the facilities, rural India still has vast scope for upgradation. I'll give you an example. We were there in one of the tolls when we were traveling to Thanjavur. It's normally a toll where the Ulundur toll plaza to be specific. It normally takes at least 10-15 minutes for us to cross that toll, because you have to physically hand over cash and then you will have to cross the toll. But now we have fast tags, so there was no queue at all. And in a jiffy, we were able to pass that toll plaza. But I was left wondering, that was a time where, the local vendors, the fruit sellers and the flower sellers and vegetable sellers used to come to us and they used to sell things to us. So it was an economy that was thriving for them, the rural population. Now I find those cars zipping up and nobody seems to be buying it. So what will happen to those rural people? I was wondering. So obviously we do have a rural-urban divide that needs to be addressed. The very last and the most important challenge is habits and attitude of the general public. The biggest challenge is to change mindsets of people. If you're very adamant that you will stick on only to old means, then it's going to be very difficult to make people to accept new technology. So the challenge is to make people accept the new technologies. With that, I come to the end of my presentation. We can say that a cashless world isn't plain sight. Whether we get to a cashless or less cash society remains to be seen. But we will all agree that payment preferences as well as the systems to handle them have changed, and it is time to embrace these new technologies. With those words, I end my session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Tilakar.
Hello, good morning. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Hello, I think I can continue. Okay. Good morning. So I welcome everyone for the International Business Research Conference hosting by Dhanraj Jain College. My name is Tilak Raj. I am an alumni of Jain College. I did my bachelor's and master's in Jain College, and Saktivel Murugan sir is my HOD, and then Balaji sir and Jagdish sir is my master degree professors. So I stand here today as an alumni of Jain College. So okay, I hope you guys can hear me, right? Is there any interruption?
There are some noises are coming.
Okay, let me continue. So today I'm going to talk about how pandemic affects the IT sector and what is the roadmap on getting out of pandemic and how the IT sector is going to adapt to it. So said that. Okay, so this is what it is. The IT sector resilient during the pandemic. The IT sector is very fortunate enough to adapt when the pandemic happened. We are the very least impacted in the sense we have infrastructure and things ready. When compared with other sectors, they are panicked. But for us, we already have a remote options, and we have like offshore model, and we are before the pandemic, we know how things can be offloaded and get things work remotely. So with having all those prior experience, the IT sector, we are able to execute our job much easier when compared with all the other sectors. The main impact is or the things what happened during pandemic is the IT sector. We not only survived our own sector, we support all the other business sectors. The technology is what enabled the other sector to come out of pandemic. So there are a lot of houses, right? Like during the pandemic, we don't know what's going to happen and how we are going to do our business, how we are going to trade, how we are going to work, how we are going to learn. So any of this unknown, all these questions, right? Every business sector added. So that's where the IT sector stepped in, and they using the technology as a bridge to solve all of those things, right? So when you talk about the business, then obviously we have the online option. Earlier, people think that people prefer to go for a in-person, but the pandemic scale up, right? Earlier, the percentage of online business grew up a lot during the pandemic. And then regarding the trade, so even the previous speaker, I think Madam, they are talking about the digital payment and cardless payment, right? So this has been during pandemic, we got an opportunity for digital and cardless payments and work. How we work, obviously the remote. The many industry never even assumed that they can do work remotely, but the pandemic and the technology provides the way to work remote, and the learning, the distance learning, and then even in the medical sector. So these are various medical sector. There is a teledoctors available. So it's not only for one global region, right? It's throughout the global, everywhere there is a teledoctor options, and obviously the entertainment, right? So when it comes to entertainment, online entertainment, previously people thought that they need to go for or they preferred going to in person to a theater to watch a movie and all. Now it's all okay. They prefer to watch it on a OTT environment. So the IT sector provides solutions for all the pandemic or for all the sectors as much they can. And before we talk about the post-pandemic, the sector is revolving or into a phase of Web 3.0. So this is what we are going to discuss more about today. So we know, we heard a lot about cryptos, we heard about blockchain, we heard about Web 3.0, but we don't, many people don't know the connection between what are these things and how it's going to influence our future IT sector and business as well. This particular diagram will give you a good outline of what we can expect the post-pandemic and especially with the web evolution which is going around. To start with, the year 1989 to 2006, right? That is called as a Web 1.0. During that era, you can see it's all read-only. Mostly we are talking about the HTML content where we have a web page. It's like a read-only where the person owns the data, the machine does not do anything. It just delegate or it gives whatever there in the system. So if you see on the bottom, it says that's a home page, and then in the kind of a marketing, it's a page view and a banner advertisement. That's the maximum, the business which happened during the Web 1.0 era. And when it comes to the 2.0, that's where the social media picks up, the cloud computing picks up, right? The Facebook, everything comes here. Now, how the business happens? The business happens per page. As we know about the business model, right? Who makes money. And the e-rate is the other e-rate, and you know that e-rate, right? It's a application where if you want to host any functions or anything, people make a portal to make a money out of making a portal for any particular purpose and making money out of it. And this, in the Web 2.0, it's AdSense. This is where we are currently in, right? So where we do the targeted ad, and we, instead of in the invite in 1.0, it's only when you say that, hey, send an invite to everybody to attend a function, it will send an email. Whereas here, it will say that, hey, there is some upcoming event happening. Or last year during the time, you hosted something. So do you want to host it again? So it reminds you, it reads you. So that's what happened in the 2.0 era. And then the cost per click. When you click something, you make money out of it. In the 3.0, it is completely different. The business model which we are driving towards is pay per transaction. And then when it comes to the e-weight, in the e-weight wise, we said that it will remind you, right? Now you can spontaneously have a crowd with the virtual VR and AR mechanism. You won't need to be physically being present there. You can spontaneously wear a VR glass, and then you have a crowd where you host a party virtually, right? That is the era we are entering in. And another thing, the major thing between these three things, Web 1.1, 2, and 3. In 1.1, who is the owner of the content? You post something, and then it resides there, and then it's a read-only. Whereas the 2.0, where, for example, Facebook and Twitter, the corporates owns the data. They control, or they try to sell your data, right? They manage everything, and they are in control. Even starting from, if they want to block someone's Twitter account, they can't do it. There is no freedom. So somebody controls you. Whereas in Web 3.0, the main thing is you own your content. No longer the others, the corporates will own your content. So that is the main driving factor for Web 3.0. The people, we people decide on what needs to happen. For example, your user data, you can decide whether you want to sell your user data. If you want to make money selling your user data, you can do it, but not the corporates or the business owners. They cannot do that anymore. And the last trending technologies, we already talked about some of these, like the blockchain, cryptos, web, and how these are interrelated, right? So the blockchain is nothing but a ledger. So as we said, nobody is going to, in the Web 3.0, nobody is centralized governance or the centralized corporates going to own the ledger for you. It's a decentralized, and you will be owning it. That is called the blockchain. And obviously, every time we will be hearing about cryptos, Bitcoin, and all those things. This is the one which is a medium of exchange, right? Which is electronically stored in a blockchain, in a encrypted, using the encrypted technologies. What is the Web 3.0? This is all collectively the cryptos and blockchain. It's highly decentralized, driven by machine language, artificial intelligence, leveraging the blockchain technologies, the user control over the data and content. This is what I was talking about. No longer the companies and the corporate will have a ownership. You will have the owner and control of the data and content, and they can sell or trade their data without losing the ownership. Like you have your control, you can sell or own your data, and you will have the ownership of that. That is what the Web 3.0 is all about. And finally, thanks everyone for this opportunity. and thanks the management, principal, and Dr. Emerson, Dr. Emerson Chair, Balaji sir, and all the speakers, staffs, and then my dear friends.
Information due to
So
availability.
if you have any questions on this presentation, feel free to email me. And if you have any other doubts on, you can always reach out to me using this email ID.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Clayton George Paul, who is a Senior Associate at Cognizant, to deliver the address. I invite Mr. Clayton George Paul, who is the Senior Associate.
Hi everyone, am I audible? Can someone please confirm?
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I'll continue with my speech. So you guys, of course, you may start your career at the time when the competition is, of course, it would be massively intense and opportunities would be huge. And of course, the challenges are also would be daunting. And of course, the Indian market would always play a crucial role all over the world. And most of the Indian companies of today aspire to succeed in global market. Because as you all know, that to succeed is to succeed globally. So I would say like we should thank to the phenomenon called globalization, and which is of course sourcing capital from where it is really cheapest, sourcing the talent from where it is available, producing where it is cost effective, and selling where it is more profitable without being constraint of national boundaries. Of course, the market players offering products and services in a very cost effective, and the management would also be globalized world, and it could come from any part of the world. To illustrate with few examples, let's say we talk about mobile phones, China, Uber, the US company. And when it comes to airlines, and of course when it comes to airport management and airlines management, it comes we can say Switzerland. We have the Indigo, the airlines, Indian Airlines, and we have the planes made by Switzerland companies, Accord hotels, French companies. In other words, in a nutshell, several nationals. The nations are participating in making your life more productive and more comfortable right here in India. The common factor among these companies is it is their abilities to transcend international boundaries and compete successfully in foreign lands. Friends, of course, when you go out there in this new real world, we would see potential challenges coming out from the cross currents. I'm not going to talk about the stuffs you have been hearing all the times. Let's say artificial intelligence, robotics, data science, digital marketing, a lot more. You'd have huge opportunities, but in tough and challenging times. I analyze my own career when I embarked upon it effectively into 5 major categories. What I call is 5 C's. I would say character, conviction, commitment, creativity, and capability. Let's talk about the first C, which is character, and which is of course extremely powerful for me. And as you all know, like the character across your journey, friends, you would be finding many opportunities to do effectively in shortcuts. But you need to ask yourself and ask within you, is it right or is it wrong? And if you get the answer as wrong within you, you have the character to stand up and say it, I will not do it. And I can tell you, it has helped me in many occasions. I'm telling you, in many circumstances in my career, I had to take call between a decision yes or no. Whenever I had taken the decision on the basis of what I was told by myself to me, that's what I helped me very high good strength. Thus, stand up, be counted, value your character, because that would really tell you what to do, what not to do. Indeed, it is an undeniable truth that our mentors and parents would give the values. Stand up to that at your workplace, because somebody at work would tell you to do it differently if you want to go faster. Don't make choices between shorthand growth versus sustainable career. And of course, ultimately, character is what will get you there. The second C, this is very important. This is what I call it as a conviction. If you are convinced about something, go and do it, but be counted again. I have had certain situations in many of my career decisions, whether the line between the conviction and foolhardiness was very thin. You took a decision based on conviction, and if it turned out to be foolhardy, the price of foolhardiness would be very high. And definitely, it would stood up and thought, took the call. In other words, the question yourself between conviction and foolhardiness before being sure what is conviction. The third C, I would say it's commitment. Every single day after I passed out from the college, I have joined going to work. I mean, I enjoyed going to work. For me, it always gives me pleasure. Therefore, for me, this thing about work and fun are two separate things is not true. I enjoyed my work. Never, ever, ever, I had felt in the last, I mean, over the couple of years in my life that I don't feel going to work. I wake up in the morning. I would always love to go to work early. So that's where I committed to. It comes out of the sense of passion and enjoyment, which you can call differently as commitment. If you want to really progress, friends, enjoy what you do and believe that true commitment comes out of passion and enjoyment in your work. The fourth C, I would call it as creativity. Of course, you, everyone, including myself, everyone learn many from our educational institutions from where we graduate, many ideas. You could have many things which you may carry from your experience, mix all that together and find your creative solutions outside the box. And please dare to be different, because growth and opportunities are not always in a straight line. You must have the courage to stand up and say what I want to do in this way, however stupid it may look, but never worry about what others tell you. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask this question: I feel this is exciting and this is the way I must do it. Go ahead and do it. It is always better to be considered stupid, and even you should be ready to fail, because learning out of the creativity will significantly benefit you in future. I have been very often told by my HR team, if I happen to introduce someone who has failed in their career journey and wants to come back to the job market, that's the best person to get and go to hire such people, because their learning is more uh, like significant than anybody who has gone down that path of straight and narrow. Companies would always prefer hiring people who are bold enough to think differently, and that's what I genuinely care for. Please dare to be different and test yourself, be creative, and results would be definitely phenomenal. And the last C, which I would call it as capability. Friends, I don't have to tell, it is assumed all you all have it. But friends, capability is primarily about execution as well. If you are capable, but don't focus on committed execution, your capability is wasted. Use your capability to the hinge and stretch your band as much as you can. Don't worry about the band breaking. What you have learned in our institution, in your institution, would make your band very strong, and you can keep on stretching and test your limits of your capability. Just go ahead and do it. And that's what I would like to convey today here. The 5 C's, again, I'll reiterate once. Your character, the conviction, the commitment, creativity, and the capability. Live your life, enjoy and cherish each and every moment. Wish you all success and have a great journey ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. To next lead the proceeding, I invite Dr. Ramasundaram, Professor from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, to address the gathering.
Is it visible, ma'am? Is it visible and am I audible?
Sir, you're visible and you're audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to be here. I would like to thank my guide and mentor, Dr. Saktivel Murugan, sir. Okay, with this, I can start my presentation. This is I hope, is the last presentation in the morning session. And also most of the things they spoke, whatever I want to talk. Even then, I will try to drift away from what others told, and I will throw light on the technology used in finance and technology which is emerging in finance. Otherwise, we can say that it has not reached saturation or maturity. Still, it is growing, it is moving ahead. The recent survey about this technology usage, recently, PricewaterhouseCoopers recently made survey last month and published. In India, 90% of the customers of financial services are using the mobile technology, and 70% are using online, 44% the digital assistant, for example, whatever the digital payment system they told, and 37% it is social media, that 33% is a third party. Once upon a time, everyone of us know that we were using third party for each and everything. We have to go through somebody and get things done. Today's the new situation, though we are having less literacy rate comparing to the developed countries and infrastructure, everything here. But see what is happening through pandemic. The government of India was forcing people to use the digital platform, but people were reluctant, skeptical. But today it is totally different. People are volunteering themselves, and they are accustomed with, and they are accepting willingly. They are doing. No one is forcing them. Okay. With that, what I would like to say is, I would start from what is the financial system, or how the finance is working in any country or in the world, or in particular country or nation or economy. The financial system is a mess. It is a lot of crowd working in there. For example, we have so many institutions which are acting as mediators or intermediaries. For example, we are having commercial banking, merchant banking, investment banking, private equity firm, PMS services, alternative fund services. We have FIIs. There are so many, brokers. So there are so many institutions apart from the people who are saving money and investing money. So when you are having so many things, we need so many regulatory bodies. You know that in India, we have more than a dozen regulatory bodies which are governing all these things. We are having so many, that laws which are, which are binding these, and the government is also looking after. After so many things, still we are having scams, scandals, so laundering, siphoning. Everywhere we are saying that people are being cheated, hard-earned money people are losing. So that is a system, is our financial system. Not only in India, it is happening in the highly developed countries like European countries and United States of America. Okay, what is the solution for that? What is the alternative? What is the thing we are going to do? Here, you know that why that financial system, what is happening? Here, the two set of people. One is people who are having the surplus money. Other one is people who are in need of money. Only these different, these two groups want to exchange their surplus and returns. But actually happened, this is a very simple thing. Suppose I am having surplus money, someone is in need of money, I can give it to him. He will pay with return. He will pay with some additional money that we are calling as return. But what happened, the message or the problem is happening between these two groups. There are so many people who are acting in between. They are creating mess. They are creating, all issues, and they are giving solutions. Everything is happening. But what happened? The people who are saving money, they are not getting what return they want. People who are investing, they are not able to, that get money with cheap rate or cost of capital what they want. So this is a problem. For this problem, one of the solutions or one of the answer is technology. That is what happening today. For example, suppose you are an exporter. You are in India. You are exporting garments from Tirupur or Chennai or somewhere, or somebody is importing from European countries or US. There are so many financial institutions acting in between. For example, you have to have exporter bank. You should have that bill acceptance bank. There, that importer should have importer bank. Suppose these two banks are not connected, you have to go for some other bank who is going to act as a mediator between these two. So what will happen is it is taking a lot of time. It costs you more, and also you have to go through so many inconveniences. That is what the technology plays role here. Here, what the technology is doing is the financial technologies are the things which are creating new and improved financial services for both consumers and businesses. Here, what I mean the business is not only that corporate and also individuals who are looking for getting money from the surplus or suppliers. It includes everything from personal financial management tools. You know that now everyone is having app, personal financial management app or money management app or budget app that is taking care of their expenses, income, budgeting, target, goal, everything it is taking, even retirement planning, estate planning, everything is taken care of by this written through the right portfolio or optimum portfolio. That is also being